I now call on Stuart Stevenson, Minister, about 6 minutes.
Thank you very much indeed, Presiding Officer. And may I welcome very much John Park's concluding remarks, where he looks forward to my continuing to be here. I certainly intend to do so. The Strategic Transport Projects Review has been a thread that has run through the debate as a whole. It was the first objective-led, nationwide, multimodal, evidence-based appraisal process that's been undertaken in Scotland. Indeed, it's something that's being looked at as a process by other jurisdictions, because we are at the edge of international approaches to transport planning. And of course, the STPR sets out the next 20 years of investment priorities, helping ministers, helping administrations make informed decisions about future transport spending, subject to the current programme. Yes.
Adam.
Can the Minister confirm that capital for rail is rather more possible because the Network Rail has borrowing powers, and therefore there is lesser potential financial impact from the Forth Road Bridge project on rail than on road?
Minister.
That's absolutely correct. Indeed, the proposed rail interventions for the North East are budgeted at some £1.1 billion. And if that does not highlight the Government's commitment to improving rail infrastructure in Aberdeen City and Aberdeenshire, I don't know what would. It's a very Yes.
Jeremy Purvis.
I'm very grateful for the Minister giving way very interesting in his response to Brian Adden when he said that using Network Rail's regulated asset base is the most effective way of delivering rail infrastructure in Scotland. Why has he ruled it out for the Borders Railway, and he's preferring to borrow £300 million from the private sector?
Minister.
Well, we invited Network Rail to compete, which would be the most effective way of ensuring that we get a cost-effective solution. In fact, we've got a substantial number of people who are interested in building the Borders Rail link. I think it certainly is important that we support the Office of Rail Regulator, who are saying that we can achieve 30% savings by different models of approaches compared to the way in which Network Rail do things. The Office of Rail Regulator has managed to get 19% efficiency savings in the next control period. So I think it's proper that we always look at the most effective ways of doing things in our rail network. Let me just, Presiding Officer, turn to a few of the remarks made by members. I'll deal with as many as I can in the time available. Des McNulty criticised, I accept in a mild way, the Liberal Democrat motion for its parochialism. I'm not sure I agree with him. I think it is proper that if the assertion is made that things in Aberdeen are important for the whole country, that then this Parliament in plenary session in this way should debate them. He says we need a strategy for conurbations. Should local stations be national or should they be local? And that's a perfectly good and proper question for him to raise. We need to look at the cross-cut across a whole series of projects in different transport modes and make sure that we do seek to integrate them. I think that's precisely what we've sought to do in the Strategic Transport Projects Review. Will Strategic Transport Projects Review number 2, when it comes along, do it better than number 1? Yes, of course it will, because one can always learn from lessons. We should look at Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire as a single transport area. I think very largely that is happening through the increasing collaboration between the councils. He emphasised the need for dialogue. Basically, I agreed with a great deal of what Des McNulty had to say. I don't always do so. Today, I thought he spoke a great deal of sense. Alec Johnson talked about timetable issues going south of Aberdeen. I would make the point that, of course, we don't control the timetables on the network in GB. We can control what we asked of First ScotRail, But the timetables depend, in fact, on Network Rail's willingness to cooperate, and indeed the other operators who are controlled by Westminster who have to access the track. We're making good progress. We'll try and do more. Nigel Donn made the point that it's north-east to south-west trains that are important. We're not ruling out further stations. One of the benefits of the incremental approach is that we'll build up the case for further stations, and various locations have been mentioned. Lewis MacDonald brought once again, I think, the issue of the Hodigan roundabout. It will be done by this government. People will welcome it. I've said that before. It is, of course, not a national project. It is about fixing the local road when we've transferred the traffic off what is currently a trunk road and made it a local road. But we are supporting it, which is something that we believe we should do. Richard Baker welcomed incremental improvements. I think he's absolutely right. John Park, I'm hoping I can borrow his crystal ball, because it's clearly something that has been working for him. I just make a little point on the bridge. We're seeking to ensure that local civil engineering contractors are fully engaged at an early stage to understand what opportunities there are for them. We cannot, under international law, mandate who internationally is involved, but I think we're going to give our local people the best possible shot. It's been a good debate, not entirely free from rancour, but I think we will see how we vote at 5 o'clock. But this government's commitment to improving rail services in the North East is absolute. No minister before me has used the railway as much as I have. I look forward to continuing to do so, and I support the motion amendment in my name.